starting up the stream, we're doing it. It's time to start the stream. Time for me to get everything up and running. And then we can get the stream set up. It'll all be good, and then the stream is set up. Yeah, that seems good. Seems good. I'm just gonna jump right in today. I got moral choices to make in the big demon throne. Gonna jump right in. Give me demon throne choice.
Continues, your worship. I submit Lord Livius Erimond of Virantium, who remains loyal to Corypheus. We found him alive, offering extreme resistance, likely because the Order will ask for his head. In more colorful
I forgot to do my German again. I'm gonna have to do German on stream again today.
Of justice you might personally require for what was suffered in the Fade.
I'm struggling to understand how judging you can make up for anything that happened.
I recognize none of this proceeding. You have no authority to judge me.
On the contrary, many officials have communicated that they will defer to the Inquisitor on this matter.
Because they fear not just Corypheus, but Tevinter, rightful ruler of every piece of ground you trod in your pathetic life.
Ooh.
I serve the living God. Bring down your blades and free me from the physical. Glory awaits me.
Yeah, you do really sound like the kind of person who, if you are allowed to survive, will find a way to freedom and use that freedom to start up another murder cult. Look, in the real world, I am not one for the death penalty. But when a man goes, nope, I did all those killings because I'm serving a god and I'll keep doing it, so send me to my god, free me from the physical realm, kill me, or I'm gonna keep doing murders for God. Sometimes I might just click, he dies by my sword.
Lord Erimond, any protection you thought
Everyone
you had has apparently
approves.
been withdrawn. You will die. By my hand.
Petty actions. Truth lies in the next world.
Cool. Oh, we're just really gonna see me do it, huh? I really thought it was just gonna be another one of those we fade to black and we don't see it. I don't think I've ever chosen this option before. Do not remember that do not remember that being a cutscene that could happen. Well. Oh, I got more choices. Can I chop more heads off? Who else needs a head chopping?
Another of the lingering pains of adamant, your worship. Sir Ruth is a senior warden of the Order. She was one of the many who slit the throat of another to bind a demon. She does not contest this. In fact, she surrendered to us. She requests no mercy. She wants the public justice of the headman's...
I know that the last person also requested I kill them, and I was very eager to do it upon that request. And I'm not gonna say it's just the gender that's doing it. But a man with that man's facial hair, I forget his name. He's the man who was doing a bunch of I'm fucking up all the wardens and throwing you into the Fade and doing all evil shit last stream we did. You know, he tells me, hey, kill me. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it. Woman comes up to me and goes, I request no mercy. I wish the justice of death. And I'm like, hang on here. I feel like you can be redeemed. You don't need the death penalty. When a man tells me he needs to be killed for his crimes, I'm like, yeah, probably. It's definitely not just the gender thing. Death is the easy way out for her. Well, that's the thing. I'm joking, but the difference is, like, he genuinely sounds like, if you don't kill me, I'll keep doing murders, whereas this sounds like, please kill me so I don't have to, like, live with the consequences of what I did. Like, I don't have to live with the guilt of it. And I'm like, yeah, no, you feel the guilt. You're not going to do it again. You should have to, yeah. The first person was the threat. This person is like, no, the greater punishment is you kind of have to live and learn from what you did.
You're very serious about this. Is more death the answer?
There is no excuse for my actions. I murdered another of the Order. That blood marks me more than the Blight ever could.
Accepting their actions while thralls of Corypheus, many treaties allow wardens any extreme if it opposes the Blight.
I can't do it. I can't use the greater good to justify my crimes, as if it would create a future I could be a part of. It is wrong that this broke me. I've done worse with full sanction. I can do nothing except be an example of the cost.
No, you are a great example of, even when your whole, like, philosophy as a culture is built around everything for the greater good, the greater good always wins out, that it is okay to acknowledge some things are not, like, sometimes the greater good does not, you know, the ends do not justify the means, and it is healthy to recognize that that line exists. Public humiliation, shame her like Game of Thrones. She wants to be a public example. She wants to be, you fucked up real bad. But, like, she doesn't need to die for that. And, look, again, I'm not a fan of public humiliation, but I feel like it gets you what you want, which is feeling like you are being witnessed having done the bad thing. The shame, like, the shame you're internally pointing, you feel like it's gonna, some of it will settle down because it's been externalized. You don't have to die to achieve that.
Nothing brings out fear and pity like a criminal bound for the mines. Have Sir Ruth put in the stocks, then serve her sentence at hard labor.
If it serves as a warning, I go willingly.
Oh, the stocks is barely humiliation. The stocks is sit and be a criminal that people can see was a criminal. Okay. I don't remember if we made progress with Josephine.
What's the next favor we need?
We must persuade Minister Belize to ratify the papers. She's in charge of these
Minister
matters.
Belize
The
to
minister
ratify.
will be at a small fete thrown by the Marquis Wiscott.
Okay, we're gonna meet Minister Belize. I wanna sort out Josephine's quest. I wanna get that done. It's a lengthy little quest line if we're not gonna do murder for it. So let's see if we can find a quest for Minister Belize. Hey, Johnny Desu. Hey, Artisan. I care not what makes Vivian happy. Okay,
Our soldiers handled themselves well in Adamant.
We've come a long way since Haven. I fear there's still a ways to go, but we're prepared.
Okay, oh, Minister Belize at the party.
Inquisitor?
Yeah, you can do that, Josephine. That makes sense for you. Many of the nobility of the capital have settled their secondary differences and are rallying behind two family. Let's see, what have we got around? Gather leather, gather cloth. Pres de Lyon resources. Hey, Chris Deviant. Chris Deviant says, after Pulquisition this week, gonna be keeping my pre-orders for the Proteus, but I have a more grounded understanding of the product. Still sounds like it'll take boxes for me, valid points reigns. Cheers for your diligences. I do want to give a little update after Pulquisition this week.
What happened in Adamant is a shame.
Wait for this
I'm still
dialogue.
reeling over the army of demons. Imagine what would have happened if the Inquisitor hadn't arrived.
So, I received a very lengthy email from BioWave, who made the Proteus controller, after Pulquisition aired this week, like 3 hours later. I suspect it is connected. Being one of a small number of people who bought one and publicly talked about it with the platform. So a couple of things. The technical bugs and issues I talked about with okay, I'll say this first. I used the term dev kit to refer to the one I purchased at Gamescom because the person who sold it to me referred to it as such. I've been told by BioWave they were in error for saying that. They were not, like, that is not a thing they were supposed to have called it. It was intended to be, like, a fully functional kit. That is what they say. But yes, so I'm gonna use dev kit here just because it's easiest still. But talked about some of those dev kit specific problems, and they've said, hey, they emailed me to say, everyone who bought one at Gamescom, we are going to send a free replacement in October when the final retail units go out. There is a problem with all the units we sold at Gamescom. We thought that it would be fixable with a firmware update. It is not. It is a hardware issue. We will let those people keep the Proteus controllers that they bought at Gamescom. Here is the workarounds as we understand them. The problem is basically that the power cubes, so in this example, this cube and this cube, will not power on if connected to an analog stick or a trigger or some combination of one of the analog sticks or one of the trigger inputs. If they're connected to the setup that includes a power cube won't turn on. However, there is a workaround for the Gamescom units, which is if you plug a power cable into the power port, it will turn on, and then you can unplug the power cable. So just plug a power cable in, turn it on, unplug it. But they're like, yeah, considering they're like, you make a fair point. We did sell it to you at full price, and it is not up to the standard that we would like them to be. So you can keep them, meaning that between now and October, you will have one that works. It just needs a bit of a workaround. It's a little fiddly. You can, work out what setups you want for it. You can have it in your home. A second one will show up that is like finalized retail hardware in October. Now, that works great for me in that if I just remove the couple of power cubes from this setup that don't play nice, I now have 2 charging sections, which means I can have I can do the dual. I'll be able to in October do the dual controller setup because I will have a new dongle because they're sending another one with another dongle. I'll have 2 charging connectors, so each of my Joy-Con halves can have a charging connector on it and connect at once. I will have spare cubes and buttons and things that I'll have extra inputs to work with for making a good setup. So I think it works out. I'm glad that their response to, hey, it turns out there's a problem with the ones we sold in that first batch at Gamescom, is to just go, you can keep the one that is functional, but with a problem you have to work around, and we'll send you a replacement. I'm like, that's pretty good customer service. I'm glad to see that not only that was not only an offer made to me as person with a platform that spoke out about it, but I have gotten confirmation that everyone who bought one at Gamescom has been reached out to, and that's really good. I want to spend more time with it. I think there is a lot of really interesting use cases for it, but I cannot help that my first impression of it was tainted by the fact that they sold a 300 quid controller with technical issues, and that when you're selling a thing this expensive, when your early adopters have problems that they just expect they're gonna have to kind of live with, it's not a great first impression for a thing like this. And I say that while also going, I can see how this is going to be my default Xbox controller, and I'm really excited for the future when another one of these turns up and I can be doing dual analog control, split-handed PC and Xbox controls. That's going to be really fucking nice. So, yeah, fun. I am desperately trying to find a workaround so I can use the Proteus on PlayStation, because I would really love to be able to do split-handed controls on PlayStation. It would be great. Yeah, how is everyone doing today otherwise? I am doing pretty good. I can talk about some more what I've been up to today. I did my final Gamescom piece. There was an interview I was meant to do at Gamescom that got pushed back. It was my final freelance thing out of the Gamescom stuff. Ooh. So Gamescom work is out the way at least. It's not on my plate anymore. So that's nice. And I can say that I have review code now for Astrobot on PS5, the new PS5 Astrobot game. I can't say anything more about it other than as of like 10 o'clock this morning, I have Astrobot, and I believe review embargo is Thursday next week. It's the 5th. Is that Thursday or Friday? It's Thursday next week. Thursday next week is the Astrobot embargo. So that has been my day. Where are these dramatic people that wandered in? These dramatic cutscene people. Are they down in the courtyard?
Thank you for saving my life and giving us a chance to help. I'm mostly studying now, but Hellismer can talk to you.
Where are all those dramatic fuckers that walked in? You're all down here.
Thanks for my life in Haven. You've all sorts serving now. If that means change, so be it.
The soldiers make me nervous. Sitting around here, tempers get short, and fighting.
I have no idea who the dramatic fuckers in the cutscene were, or where they went.
Knew you couldn't stay away.
I should go.
What have you done? The oath you have taken is all but broken. All is undone. Demons have come to destroy this peace we have had for so long. Ally or foe, make our only knows. Ally or foe, then make our only knows. The stronghold lives on, the armies reborn. Compelled to forge on, what will we become?
Oh, that was lovely. Yeah.
Commander Cullen did good work at Adamant. Breached those walls like he'd done it a dozen times. Nice job with the demons, by the way.
There's some other nice things I had happen today. Well, this has been going on the last few days, but finally sort of locked things in today. I've been chatting with an indie dev about doing some consulting on a game they're working on, some accessibility consulting. And, like, without getting into specifics, I've been really pleasantly surprised with how professional this developer has been in their approach, and, like, how on the right track they've been with the way they've approached it. They reached out to me and were like, hey, here's a little about my game, you know, here's the budget I have, I'm hoping to get funding, if I get funding, here's what the budget would become. But specifically, they reached out and they were like, I want to do, like, every 2 months, between, like, for a year, I want to do rounds of consulting. I want to, like, in the year or so run up to releasing the game, every 2 months I want to put the game in front, pay you and put the game in front of you and get your feedback so I know what to work on, and then 2 months later circle back around and do like a year of feedback on this game. And I was like, that's really good, in as much as it's really good that you recognize that, like, a one and done round of consulting can lead to problems of misunderstanding and going off in the wrong direction or not picking things up. I'm like, it is a rarity to see that degree of, like, I want to, like, regularly check in during development that I'm going on the right track with accessibility. And I was like, that's really fucking cool. Oh,
It's why
Cass
the field
Fireborn.
doesn't like women fighting. I should have asked
Oh,
Cullen.
fuck you, Iron Bull. Cass, is that the episode where they talk about like the Irish the Irish reunification and
Perhaps you can take
the
over.
wars of 2024? Is that today?
Qunari training exercise to master your fear. Been a while since I needed it, but that nightmare demon was big.
He was a big boy. Nightmare Demon was big. Hit him.
Can you explain why I'm supposed to hit you with this stick?
Probably, if I try. It'd involve a lot of Qunari words.
I'm a Canary, though.
Just hit me with the stick, all right? I need to get over this.
You just do not see me as Canary, huh? Sanctuary District, that's the term. I wanted to say Time Slum, and I was like, Time Slum isn't right. Sanctuary District.
All right.
There we go. Oh, yeah. Time demon. Who's stuck in the fade, huh?
That nightmare wanted to tear you in half.
Not a chance. Piece of fade, piece of crap.
Yeah, now stop being quite so sexist about women being warriors.
That's right. Iron fucking bull.
I'm doing everyone's kinks today, you're right.
I needed that. Thanks, boss.
Oh, I kind of have to.
Didn't know you liked it that rough.
Only from you, boss. Only from you.
Oh. Look, as ill-advised as it might be, and as many reasons as there are not to, I want a romance bull. And I couldn't say no to that line. That line's great. Oh, we're getting all the plot today. Plot, plot,
Writing
plot.
does not come naturally to me, as I'm certain you can imagine.
Oh,
Are you all right? You seem very intent.
I am. This needs to be done before I forget. As if written by a dim-witted child. Historians will one day ask what happened at Adamant Fortress, in the Fade. I wasn't there, but others were. Their accounts must be recorded.
Yeah, Cash, you're not wrong. A lot of times where Star Trek has dabbled into eras of time that have, like, were the future for them, but are the past for us now. Yeah, generally Star Trek was a little optimistic about the progress we would be making, the pace we would be making it, but that's speculative sci-fi fiction for you in a nutshell, usually.
That's an excellent idea, Cassandra.
I certainly thought so, until I started writing.
Welcome to every time I've ever written. I thought it would be a great idea to write this, and then I started writing it and went, oh god, what have I done?
I still don't know what to say about the spirit of the divine. The Chantry teaches
You
us
come out
that
the other end,
souls of the
but-
dead pass through the Fade, so it could have been her. Yet even so,
Yeah, no, the writing process, at least for me, is great. This is a great idea. This is going to be amazing. I get like 10% in and go, why did I ever decide to be a writer? I don't know what I'm doing. What the fuck am I doing? Then I come out the other side, I'm like, this is great. Okay. I go, yeah, this'll do. And it's like a week later, I look back on it and go, yeah, I'm good at writing. You gotta go through the dips and valleys. Cassandra, you'll learn to write it out. You think it's possible? I don't know either. It was a spirit. I believe it was her.
I believe it was the divine. She helped us one last time.
I hope that's true. I want to believe it.
I want to believe.
When they told me you were physically in the Fade, I was terrified for you. The last time such a thing happened, we created Darkspawn. We created Corypheus. The world needs to know the truth this time. No more legends lost to the ages.
Where am I? Where have I ended up? Where am I? Let me out. Oh, okay. Okay, I haven't been thrown that far. This really is that point in the game where, like, every time you click on someone, a fucking cutscene activates.
It's enough for now.
Another time.
It really is not hard to find interpersonal cutscene triggers at this moment. But that's good. That's a good sign we're making decent progress. Krem, why do you sometimes just stand up on a chair, squat a couple of times, and then sit down when I come in? Do I catch you unawares while you're up to something?
You're doing good work, boss. I like how this Inquisition is coming. Next time you're free, why don't you come grab a drink? I'll introduce you to
Oh! Oh, it's time! I've been waiting for this. It's nearly time that we can talk about this game's handling of trans characters. It's nearly time. It's nearly time.
Can you tell
He's
me more about
teabagging his
Sahara?
invisible friend.
It's a damn ugly place. Only getting uglier.
Oh, I've been waiting for this. I've been
Between the
waiting for
Fog
this.
Warriors, the Talra Shoth, my people, and the Vince.
Let me turn this up because it's all
You were lucky to go a day
it's all
without
dialogue, so we can turn the volume up for a bit.
What do you want to know?
What were the Fog Warriors
We'll
like?
finish
They
this
were the
chat
worst of the
first.
rebels. They trained for stealth attacks. They made this fog. I never saw any mages, so I figured it was alchemy, not magic. They were almost invisible in it. I'd be on patrol in the market square. The fog would roll in, and before I knew it, half my squad dead without a sound.
It almost sounds like you admire them.
They didn't use poison. They didn't hurt civilians, and they were damn good fighters. You have to respect that. Plus, they hit the Vince as hard as they hit us. Hearing some terrified Magister scream, "My slaves! Where are my slaves?" in the fog always put a smile on my face.
That's pretty good.
Tell me about the Tevinter people you fought.
The Vince sent forces to Saharan every autumn. Guess they didn't like the summer heat. We had some good fights on the beaches, standing in knee-high water foaming red with blood, ships on fire around us. The cities were worse. Free bit of advice. Don't let the Inquisition forces get suckered into urban combat.
What's so bad about Tevinter, which I believe is the place that we're starting Veilguard in?
Why do you hate Tevinter forces so much? What makes them so bad?
It's not their armies. It's their spies. They bloodied Saharan year-round, killing loyalists, supporting
Nev, I
rebels.
believe, is a spy from
Alam
Tevinter,
had
so
no
that'll be
city
fun.
administrator. Nobody would accept the position. The last 4 who held it died inside a year. Trying to conquer a country is one thing. Making it so nobody can live there, that just screws everyone.
What are things like for the natives of Saharan?
I remember one guy. He made these things, fish wrapped in thin bread. Nice guy. Talk to him every morning. So, one time I'm asking about his bad back, and I see he's nervous, trying to tell me something with his eyes. Next thing I know, his assistants draw knives and come at my team. The rebels had forced him to poison my food.
And then?
I'd seen how nervous he was, so I hadn't eaten anything. A couple of my guys weren't so lucky. We killed the rebels. I lost 2 men to the poison, another to knife wounds. My friend who made the fish wraps died with a knife in his throat. Close quarters fight. He was caught in the middle. That is what things are like for the natives of Saharan.
These are the moments where I really like talking to Iron Bull. Like, occasionally you'll say something a little bit sexist, and I'll be like, oh, don't put me off like that, don't make me not want you. But then, like, sometimes he'll talk about something, even something mundane, with such a sort of poetry to the way he describes things, where I'm like, I do
See
love
you later,
listening to you
Paul.
talk.
Nice talking with you.
How far into this are we? Last stream, we physically went into the Fade, fought a nightmare demon, saw a thing that might have been the Divine's ghost. Hawk got left behind in the Fade. That's the most recent thing that happened. We're about to hang out with Iron Bull and the Chargers and talk a whole bunch about Transrep in Inquisition. I don't remember percentage-wise how far that is in, but like if you know this game, that's where I'm at.
Good to see you, boss.
Ah,
you
let's
said
get
we should go get
drinks.
some drinks and meet your company?
Yeah, come on. It'll be fun.
I've been waiting for this one. So, welcome to Dragon Age Inquisition's largely
good.
pretty
We're not
good,
drinking alone.
largely pretty good trans representation
How you
with
doing, creme de la creme?
minor
Worship.
quibbles.
I'm so glad he has someone new to hit with that joke.
I can think of worse places to go with Cremisius.
So can the chief, believe me. He loves his nicknames.
Hey, when I was growing up, my name was just this series of numbers. We all give each other nicknames under the Qun.
They ever wear shirts under the Qun, chief? Or do they just run around binding their breasts like that?
It's a harness, creme.
Yes, for your pillowy man bosoms. Let me know if you need help binding. You could really chisel something out of that overstuffed look.
Okay. I'm already annoyed, but we're gonna, because I think largely this whole scene is great. And I want to get the negatives out of the way real quick. So first of all, I don't think it's great that Creme is voiced by a cis woman. And that is a choice that the developers made, and I you know, I recognize that it was not as big of a conversation in media at the time that this game was released, in as much as there were so few trans characters in games, full stop, that there weren't many people in the gaming space talking about the importance of casting trans people in trans roles, because there weren't really any trans roles to have levied the criticism at. Yeah, Saint Nobody, we're going to talk about that in, like, literally 1 second. Like, I don't think that... It's Jennifer Hale, I believe. I don't think she does a bad job voicing Creme. But, like, on principle, like, it's an outdated choice to have made. Let's talk about the other fucking problem, which I've talked at length. I've written articles at length about this. While I think that Creme is generally a really fucking well-written trans character, particularly for, like, this era of time, AAA mass-market media, particularly video games, I think he is a great representation. But I do not like the fucking why pass as a man or are you a woman questions that are available here. And the way that this game is, the way that Inquisition is structured, if you want to learn everything possible about Creme as a character, the only way to do that is to ask invasive or gross questions. To ask questions that only a really fucking ignorant cis person would ask. And it does really scream of, it screams there weren't trans people in the room to say, this is, like, the kind of question that's going to make a beloved trans character in universe feel really fucking shitty and awkward and, like, this is not comfortable. And that is a fair criticism. It is a criticism I have made. It is a criticism I made. I wrote a lot of articles about this at the time and sent them to people at BioWare going, hey, this is a problem. Same as when Mass Effect Andromeda came out, and I was like, hey, the whole Haley Abrams thing, here is a lengthy article I've written about why this is a problem, and there were people at BioWare who I am aware of who read those articles, so they are aware of those problems. Yeah, and Tara, that's the thing, like, I recognize that there is a degree of 2014 was a different time for trans representation. I get it. But I think... I don't think that that means I can't criticize... This is... Okay, I know how to put this. I want to contrast this with a much more recent game, I believe it was 2020, with a trans man character in it, which was Tell Me Why by Don't Nod. And one of the things I really praise Tell Me Why for is that it had little touches that made me think while playing it, no, you couldn't have written this without a trans person in the room. One of those being the main character's diary has a bunch of scribbled out names, and then as you flip through it, has a bunch of different masculine names that are kind of crossed out that are like, I'm trying using this to refer to myself. No, it doesn't work. I've crossed it out. I've replaced it with something else. Like, little touches like that go, this is a trans character written by a trans person. When you pair this being the first questions you're able to ask the trans character with the fact that they're voiced by a cis person, it really does shout, well-meaning ally who happened to be cis probably wrote the scene. It's got that kind of vibe. Yeah, why Live as a Man would have almost been, like, more neutral. It's the "are you a woman" that's kind of shitty, and like passing as a term is kind of shitty. I know. Oh, Saint Nobody, I can very quickly run you down on what happened in Andromeda. The short version, there's a character called Hanley Abrams, who the very first... It's been patched now, but I'll talk about the unpatched version. The very first conversation you start with her, she goes, "Hi, I moved away from the Milky Way because I was tired of getting dead named, and if I move to the Andromeda Galaxy, no one could dead name me because they won't know my dead name. Anyway, my dead name was blank. Insert dead name." And I'm like, cool. It got patched. She no longer tells you that she's trans on the very first conversation. You have to have several conversations and really get to know her before she opens up about being trans, and about, like, that being the reason she moved away to Andromeda. And even then, she no longer tells you her fucking dead name. Why? If she's moving to Andromeda so no one can dead name her because it'll be impossible to dead name her if they don't know her dead name, why the fuck would she tell anyone her dead name? Anyway, no worries, Christine. Have a lovely evening. Right, I do want to get... I've had my complaint out the way. I want to talk about positives of Krem, because I do genuinely think that, like, overwhelmingly Krem's inclusion in this game was a really, really important positive step forward for trans representation in games, and I do think that the positives really outweigh the negatives. First of all, Krem is allowed to bring up his transness on his own terms, making fun of a cis person in a way that I think is genuinely very funny and well written. I do really love the little bit of like, you know, sure, it's Krem outing himself like the first moment that this cutscene starts, but I do really love the little exchange of, I am Bull, my cis man friend. Do you need a little help with binding because, you know, your pillowy man bosoms? It's a hello cis man, you've got bigger tits than me. Need help with binding? I can help with that. I'm like, that's a fun little exchange, and I like that a trans person gets to poke a little bit of fun at a cis character's expense in a way that is related to, like, hey, I'm comfortable enough with my body to kind of make fun of yours a little bit in a way we both know is playful. There are very few people that get to make fun of a cis man's pec size, as in the same way that a accepted into the group trans man gets to. And I think that's a really fun starting point. I do think that whole exchange is lovely. Yeah, so... When did you know? This whole set of questions is like... I know I'm on the negatives. This, like... When did you know isn't a bad question, and I do like the dialogue that it prompts out of Krem. I like the stuff we get to learn about Krem from it. But it really is one of those... It's... Hello, we've barely met. I'm gonna ask for your backstory, though. But for the purposes, I acknowledge that, while also clicking on it.
Did you always know?
Yes. It's not the most fortunate thing to know about yourself, growing up in Tevinter, one rung above slavery.
In Kunadar, Krem would be an Akunathak. That's what we call someone born one gender but living like another.
And Kunari don't treat those Akun people any differently than a real man.
They are real men, just like you are.
I find...
Your people aren't so bad after all.
I find the Canarian
Don't get your
gender
hopes
really
up,
interesting.
Krem. We still come down hard on the back talk. Anyway, here's the rest of the charges, or what's left of the rest. A lot of them went looking for stronger drinks.
We'll talk more in a second.
We've got Rocky and Skinner there, and over there are Stitches, Dalish, and Grim. Crazy bunch of assholes, but they're mine.
Yeah, so... I think there's an interesting bit of what I perceive as a trans person in this world, a little bit of crosstalk, of not quite met wires between Krem and Iron Bull, but I think that what the two of them represent is, I don't have to fully understand your deal to treat you the way you want to be treated, and to be a supportive person in your life. Saint Nobody says, when did you know is the sort of question that only really makes sense to ask a trans person if you're looking for that little nudge to come out yourself. That's the reason I don't feel bad clicking it in this, is I'm like, I asked people that in the past, and I know what I was looking for with it. Tevinter seems very conservative on gender and sexuality. Oh, very much so. Like, we know, what's Twirly Mustache homosexual wizard name? I've completely forgotten gay mustache wizard's name, and it's completely betraying me at this moment. He's from, Dorian. Dorian's from Tevinter, and we know that, his being gay is not deemed acceptable. Clearly not acceptable for Krem. I'm very curious what it'll be like if you start Veilguard in Tevinter as a trans player character, because that is an option. You can play as a trans person in Veilguard. Very curious how that will be accepted in Tevinter. But yes, to talk more about like the Qunari and gender, and like at least my understanding of how someone like Iron Bull views gender is gender is a matter of social roles, and it's not that the Qun is explicitly transpositive in as much as supportive of stepping outside of established roles that we've decided we've assigned you this role. Like, they're very okay with, let's say you were born, assigned female at birth, but you want to be a warrior, and you are naturally talented to be a warrior, and you get accepted into the warriors. You will be treated as a warrior, even though usually it's the men who are warriors. If you are doing the job of warrior, you are accepted as warrior, and it's an interesting take on gender binary in that it's like, if you sex stereotype hop the fence hard enough, they will go, cool, you're really committed to hopping over that fence, you can be on this side of the fence. As if you were born on this side of the fence, you can be here. It's nothing really to do with I see you as a different physical gender. It is, you are doing the role, we accept you as doing the role, and being everything that we tend to associate with doing the role. I think we just need to call him Twirly Mustache Wizard forever now. He's Twirly Mustache Wizard. So it's like, it's not quite the same as like, because like, I feel like the Qunari would have, they've not reached the point where they're having the conversations like, hey, I am, let's say a feminine presenting trans man, doing a traditionally female-coded, traditionally female-associated job, and maybe have some feminine traits, but I still associate as being a man, as a trans man. Like, that's the kind of nuance that, like, the Qun, at least in Inquisition, isn't at. Like, I very much get the sense that, like, where the Qunari is at in their understanding of gender, and the reason they're supportive of Krem, is very much, if you do a very stereotypical binary transition, the Qunari get that, and they're like, yep, we understand what that means. You've hopped over here to do fighting with the men. You can drink beer and fight with the men. And I'm not saying that as necessarily a criticism of the Qunari. I think it's an interesting way of having them written that sort of aligns with making their sort of quite strict religious view of the world able to align with at least a certain view of transition, and then you start asking, like, how much of that is just the way that the world was when Inquisition was written, and I do wonder whether just the passage of time would allow for different, interesting explorations of transness as it associates with the Qun in Veilguard. But yeah, I think that their whole dynamic is super interesting. Terra says, I think the implication for Dorian is he is allowed to be gay because he's a noble, but only if he's closeted. I mean, his very fancy parents did... He didn't quite have to go through blood magic conversion therapy, but it was a real fucking touch and go.
Were you born?
Yeah,
on the
let's learn
surface,
about
or
some
you
more of the
from
crew.
Orzammar. I got exiled. Stupid noble crap. Also, I accidentally blew up a bit of the shape rate. Rocky's one of our best sappers. He can take down enemy fortifications faster than a golem. I'm also working on my own version of Qunari black powder.
I've almost got it.
Yeah, you really don't.
I really love... This is another thing I want to talk about with Iron Bull and the Chargers. I really love that Iron Bull is really the only character in Inquisition who has his own whole little squad completely separated from us as the main character, where he's like, nah, I've been collecting my little group of my companion characters. Don't know about you, but I've been having my own little side quest collecting my group of little guys that I love. Having my little personal backstory side quests. I love that. I wish there was more of that in this game, of like getting to get a sense of the communities that are like the community that we're building here, the communities they bring with them. Like, I like these characters a lot, and I think that there's enough here that, like, if you were to do if you'd done like a DLC that was a side story about Bull and the Chargers, you could have some really fun interactions with these characters.
Grim, is it?
Oh shit, did not know that. One
Grim
second.
doesn't talk much. I'm pretty sure he's the lost king of some small country. Or chieftain. Something like that.
I'm just double checking a thing that's been said in chat, because if accurate, that's fucking cool. Let me have a look to find Jabba the Hutt on here. Saint Nobody, can you give me a source for that quickly? You tweeted it earlier. Okay, give me a sec. Yeah, okay, Steve Saylor, blind accessibility consultant, someone I've done work stuff with before. Okay. The way you said this in chat is not entirely accurate. You kind of gave me half the point. Okay, so what Saint Nobody told me in chat was Steve Saylor voiced Jabba the Hutt in the new Star Wars game. And I was like, oh shit, that's like a really fucking big role. And like, I'm not saying this isn't a really big role, but it's not quite what Saint Nobody said. Steve Saylor does the, so Jabba the Hutt speaks in Huttese. If you've got audio narration turned on for if you can't read subtitles, the English audio they basically, but if you can't read the subtitles of the Huttese, someone in English will read the Huttese out in English. Steve Saylor is the English audio described voice of Jabba the Hutt, which is really fucking cool. That is really awesome. I'm glad that they've gotten blind people from the gaming accessibility community involved in this game in that way. I know a bunch of blind accessibility consultants who've gotten special thanks in the credits. Yeah, the way you put it in chat made it seem like you're playing that game and you hear the Huttese, that was Steve Saylor, which is not quite what's happened. This is still cool, it's just not the thing that you made it sound like it was. Well, let me hear an example quickly.
For Jabba.
You were right, Vale. For what Serek Besh is useful.
Vale shoves Haas forward in cuffs.
Ah, that's cool. He's in the audio described track. Okay. That's neat. That's really cool. I'm so glad that Steve's first voice role in a video game was also tied to an accessibility feature that he can use. That's really cool. No. It is super cool. I feel bad because I braced myself. I went expecting one thing, and then was like, oh, that's not the thing. And the thing was very exciting, but I had to do a up here. Okay, no, slightly tweak expectations. It is a super fucking cool thing, and it makes a lot of sense. I am less surprised now that I know the context. I'm like, that's really fucking cool and makes sense. Cairo says, who do you tend to romance in these games, if anyone? Depends on the playthrough. probably going to be Iron Bull this playthrough. Yeah, let's keep learning about the crew.
Why aren't you with your clan?
Our keeper thought I should see the world a little.
Artisan, have a
Dalish
good
don't have
night.
Templars, so they can't
And
have
hey,
too many
Thimba.
mages in a clan at once.
Now, sir, you know I'm not a mage. That'd make me an apostate.
You carry a staff, Dalish.
It's a bow.
A bow with a giant glowing crystal at the tip.
Yes, it's for aiming. Old elven trick you wouldn't understand.
One sec. Got some emails about consulting work that I've got to just click on and say I'm going to meetings. There we go. Yeah, fucking congrats to Steve on that one. Right, what do we got? Stitches.
I take it you're the company healer.
Yes, first time I ever picked up a sword was when the Blight hit Ferelden. Never put it back down.
He makes a potion that'll put you right back on your feet after even the toughest fight. It tastes terrible, though.
That's because it's a poultice, sir. You're not supposed to drink it.
Ah, a poultice is a thing you rub on your skin. Yeah.
So, how'd you join the Chargers?
Killed some people.
Skinner didn't take kindly to nobles testing their new swords on the elves in her alienage.
Bull took me in. Now I get paid to kill shams.
This is actually really good behavior for her. She's not marking her territory or anything.
The BT, I will say to you the same as I said when this was brought up on Wednesday's stream. I would really rather not think about that game or the person behind it any more than is necessary. Even being annoyed and upset about it is more energy than I want to give it. I hope you can respect that. I just can't be asked to get into discussing that person or that game.
You've got a good company, Bull.
We do all right.
Man can beat the Chargers, cause what hits you where it hurts.
No, not playing Outlaws, no. It's a Ubisoft game, of course we're not playing it on stream.
For every bloody battlefield will gladly raise a cup. No matter what tomorrow holds, the horns be pointing up.
Thanks for coming by, boss. Glad you could meet some of my team.
Oh, I chose the wrong dialogue. I didn't get the best Krem line. The best fucking, line between Krem and Iron Bull. And and now I say this, I'm like, I know why we didn't see it. It's because it's behind one of the really fucking shitty invasive questions. But my favourite line of dialogue between Krem and Iron Bull is, you can basically ask Iron Bull, does it bother you that Krem is trans? And the response Iron Bull gives, and it's my favourite bit of dialogue written of, like, supportive cis ally towards trans person, is, why would I give a nug's ass if Krem can't piss standing up? And I'm like, that's the right energy to have, cis man allies.
How you doing?
I'd like to hear more about the Chargers.
What do you want to know?
Oh, we might not have missed it. It might be in Tell Me About Krem. I apologise if I've gotten ahead of it. I was excited to talk about it and I thought I'd missed it for a minute.
I'd like to know more about Krem.
Krem's
He's
great.
a good soldier, and a better second in command. The troops need someone to complain to when I'm being a hard ass. He's good for that.
Oh, this is the fucking shitty choice it's behind. I think it's behind this choice. And again, my opinion of these points in Inquisition is that these questions should not exist. Find some other way to have these conversations. Because, like, I talked about this on a much earlier stream. It might have been the first stream we did when Iron Bull and Krem showed up. I think that there is a time and place for choice-based games to offer you the choice to be a shitty person, and I think the example of a game that does it well is Disco Elysium. I read a wonderful article about someone who tried to play Disco Elysium as much of a fascist as that game would allow. And maybe a third of the way into that game became unplayable, because plot-critical characters would just start going, I will not engage with you, you are a terrible person I've given too many chances to, I'm not going to engage with you. The game fucking grinds to a halt. Like, if you ignore being called out for fascism enough times, the game will just fucking become unplayable. Like, that's why you include shitty choices in a game, is to punish the kind of person who's going to lean into them. this kind of game, like, a game like Inquisition is not the place for that. If you're not going to have negative consequences for asking these questions, all you're doing is you're reinforcing that these are okay things to ask. If you do not call the player the fuck out for picking them, you just kind of condone that that's an okay thing to ask. I know we skipped all of these in the first conversation, and this is a shitty thing to say, but I'm going to click on this option just because I want to talk about the way that this game kind of responds to those things.
You don't have any problems with him being a woman?
He's not a woman. Look, you and I have to walk carefully so we don't accidentally break the furniture or the elves. We're probably not the best people to go around deciding what's normal. Krem's a good man. I don't give a nug's ass that it's a little harder for him to piss standing up.
I love that line. And, like, this is why I picked this dialogue option, because I want to talk about this. I think that is a great response in terms of going, Iron Bull is not going to take that bullshit. Iron Bull disagrees with you. Iron Bull does not, views things differently. But there's a couple of things I want to point out. Iron Bull does not get an Iron Bull disapproves of this. If you pick the transphobic option, Iron Bull doesn't, his opinion of you doesn't go down. Because, there's a difference between, Iron Bull, disagree with you, I'm gonna be, pro-trans, and, because if you're gonna have that option there, here's what I would have suggested. Have Iron Bull not only say what he said, but go, don't fucking do that, that's shitty. I think less of you for having asked me that question. He's got to point some of his, it's not enough for him to go, I'm pro-trans. He has to go, what you said was shitty to Krem. He doesn't get annoyed at you for asking. I don't like that the closest he gets in that exchange is, look, let's be civil. You probably shouldn't do that because we're big and strong and, who are we to say what's normal? He doesn't call you out. And if you're gonna have an option like that, you gotta fucking call the player out for using it. So yeah, you see what I mean. You see why I hold the opinions I do about this. Because, and I think it's a real shame. Because, that is one of my favorite lines of, cis man being an ally to the trans community. But the only way to see that really good bit of, ally to a trans person rep is to be a shitty transphobe. And, I'm not a big fan of having some of this game's best lines of, trans allyship hidden behind you have to be a transphobe to get to see. The only way to find out quite what degree of trans ally Iron Bull is to be kind of a transphobe in his presence. And, that isn't great. Right? Anyway.
You
That's
don't have
my
a problem
little...
with him being from Tevinter?
That's my whole little corner
You
there
hate the
done.
Vince.
Sure, but he's not a Vint. He's just Krem. I can get worked up about a group or a nation just fine, but people, it's too much work to hate them one by one.
How did you start the group?
Anyway,
It's easy
my
to
emotions
name
are done
yourself
there.
as a merc when you're a head taller than most folks. I spent a year or two working for Fisher's Bleeders, but their captain was crap. Figured I could do better. The best folks in the Bleeders agreed with me, so we split off.
Yes, Cass says it's sad because there's so many other ways to get to that dialogue in writing without using those questions. UntM says there could have been some spin on asking whether other people's transphobia caused trouble for Krem instead. Yeah, you could have been like, does anyone in the charges, or even just reword the question, go like, did Krem have any kind of hard time joining the charges, being trans? Even if you're not going to use the word trans, has Krem's background led to any of the charges giving him shit? And he could be like, why should any of us give a nug's ass if he can't piss down? It's a bit harder for him to piss standing up. And if you want to deliver that line, there's so many ways you can ease into it that aren't be a transphobe about it. And trust me, I've in my time rewritten this scene. I have in my free time done rewrites of this scene to be like, here's how I would have written this. As practice for when people ask, yeah, well, that thing's transphobic, but, how, You can't just say it's transphobic. How would you fix it though? I'm like, oh, don't worry. I've done practice scenes.
I imagine Fisher disagreed.
He came at me. I snapped his sword in half, and we talked things out over drinks.
What are the craziest jobs?
I like Iron Bull though.
Besides this one, there's a lot of violence between the nobles here, but that's standard work. The fun stuff is when they party. They always want to impress each other, and that means getting something shiny.
We've hunted wyverns, fought through caves to find some old magical crap. Even went giant baiting once.
So, yeah, I know I'm going on so many tangents here. This is part of the reason I'm so excited that Veilguard's going to have the ability to play as a trans or non-binary character. Is that, let's say we were having these conversations now with Iron Bull playing as a trans character or a non-binary character. Like, first of all, you would assume that they just wouldn't make be a transphobe an option given to players, if for no other reason than it would be really fucking jarring for trans character to have a transphobic thing to say on the character wheel. And, like, I recognize there are trans people who sometimes say transphobic things because you've got, like, fucking trans medicalist types and the pick me, the leopards will eat my face last types and whatnot. But, like, generally speaking, for a piece of fiction, I think the second your player character might be trans, you know, it's a lot less likely you're going to have them say something transphobic. But also you have, you know, would have been great to have seen with Iron Bull and Krem, and rather than having an option to be transphobic, having an option to go, hey, fucking samesies, hell yeah. And then, you know, that could have led to an opportunity for a conversation between, like, let's say my Inquisitor was trans, talking to Iron Bull, being like, as you know, I'm looking to romance Iron Bull in this playthrough, being like, good to know that you're okay with trans people, that's a thing I'd be nervous about, but it's good to know that's cool with you. And, like, could have been a nice, like, that could have been a nice opening into let Iron Bull have a nice opportunity to talk about his trans positivity, right? Yeah, Cass says, even I understand completely if you want to phrase it more vaguely so it can apply to several things. Like, yeah, you could just have, like, an offhanded, like, Krem, I get you. Like, the trans nod of... Yeah. Anyway, tell me about giant baiting.
Giant baiting.
So this old guy, Comte Van Chess, has some kind of a pageant planned. But he needs a giant, which is off in some damn cave. He's got some kind of rare charm to control the giant, but no way he's going into that cave himself. So we go in, kill some spiders, find the giant, and wake it up. It attacks us because, of course, it does. And we let the big bastard chase us outside where Van Chess is waiting.
That was actually your plan? To let a giant chase you?
Yeah. We had to stay out of reach, but close enough that it wouldn't give up. It was tricky. Good news is the giants are slow. Long as my guys ahead could clear out the spiders, we were fine. Bad news is the giant spiderwebs slow you down a bit more than you think.
Yeah.
But at least Comte Van Chess got his giant for the pageant.
Turned out that charm was a phony. Giant ate the poor guy alive. It's okay, though. We still got paid.
You have people from plenty of different backgrounds in your group.
Yes, well, when you're in Orlais and you look like me, you can't be picky about who you take in. A lot of them got turned away from other companies that didn't want a knife here, or a crazy dwarf. Their loss. You get my back in a fight and carry your own weight, you're good with me. How about you? You had a company of your own. How did you put yours together?
Like you, more or less. I took anyone who could take care of themselves and follow orders.
Great minds.
See you later.
Nice talking.
There we go.
Man, those serving girls are frisky.
Finally got some proper narrative going with Bull. Krem, why do you keep standing up on the fucking chair?
Inquisitor?
Is it because you want to be taller than me? Is that it? Is this lack of confidence in your height? Look, I get it as a trans person being self-conscious about your height. I get it. You're gonna want something a bit more subtle than standing on the chair, like some height-raising insoles inside your shoes that happen to be platform shoes, for example.
I wanted to talk about you.
You know, I'm from Tevinter. I was a soldier. When they found out I was passing, it got ugly. I ran, at ball near the border, and ended up here. Not a life I'd wish on everyone, but it'll do.
Okay, look, I'm gonna pick this question even though it's, like, invasive, just because I want more Krem content, and I hate that I'm doing this, but, yeah.
Why did you decide to live as a man?
I didn't decide anything. I've been like this
Again,
my whole life.
this is great
My parents
dialogue.
wanted me to marry up. They tried to find me a nice merchant's son.
But you have to be transphobic to
Every
get the
day,
nice dialogue.
in a dress. Look into my father's shaving mirror and just
It's
hate myself.
it's a little cliche. It's a little cliche in its choice of metaphors. It's the staring into the mirror, doing the shaving in a dress, crying is like it's overdone, but like it's a trans character getting to explain their own lived experience in a way that is like clearly intended to be read by cis audiences as palatable and like something you would empathize with. Again, for the time, I think there is a lot of positive at the time. And again, would you change with magic? It's such a fucking cis person. Have you had the operation? Kind of fucking question.
If you had the chance to use magic, would you change?
Would you change all the way?
No. I don't want any magic like that
would
within
you
10 yards
would
of
you
my body.
have the surgery to change all the way?
Ah, I don't know. Everyone has silly dreams. In Tevinter, dreams like that get you killed. Bull helped me make a good life. Nice armor and a well-placed sock, and I'm happy.
And here's the thing. Here's the thing I want to say about Krem that's like honestly kind of heartbreaking is the way he talks about, like, as shitty as it is to ask someone about, like, oh, would you do the magic operation? His dialogue there's honestly like really bittersweet in that it sounds like the thing is that it's not that he wouldn't be more comfortable with his body being different. It's a lifetime of I'm not going to be safe if I make these kind of changes to my body has led to me going, look, I've got a good life. Shoving a sock down my trousers is going to be good enough for me. It sounds like I've settled for this for my physical safety kind of response. And I say that as like, I know people who this has been their outcome. I'm like, I think that is like interesting writing that I hate we got to because of the fucking question that got us there.
How did your family react when you started?
He was happy to take the money I set as a soldier, though. Not that it mattered in the end. My father. When I was little, he'd angle his mirror.
I
down
like
so I could
this.
pretend to
I
shave,
really
just
like
him.
this.
He never said anything, but I think he knew.
That is like one of my favorite little bits of this interaction is I think I actually skipped the first line of the mom, unfortunately, but yeah, I really like the detail of like, look, even if we never said it, like Dad angled the mirror down so I could pretend to shave with him. I didn't have to tell him, he just kind of, I get the feeling he knew what was up. I'm like, that's a really nicely written bit of interaction. Like, again, we're talking about 2014, and even then, we're not talking 2014, we're talking a game that, like, started development, like, 2010, 2011, had 3 to 4 years in development. Like, given the time, I am impressed at how Krem turned out. Even if, you know, I would have higher standards for today, I would hold Krem to a higher standard, but I am impressed with what was achieved for the time, even if I have critiques. Anyway, there we go. That's that dialogue done. Let's go back to Cassandra, see if Cassandra's got any more quests, and then we'll go. We're gonna go circle around to everyone.
I trust all is well.
Yeah, everything's fine.
That's enough for now.
Another.
Okay. Is Varric doing any better? Is he any less, like, absolutely fucking distraught about Hawk? Oh, the BT, thank you very much for gifting a sub. Thank you, that's lovely.
Sorry, I really need to write some letters.
Okay, we gotta, like, go do a mission and come back, I think.
Would you have guessed such a...
Yeah, I have my piece of media like that. That's my, like... I've told this story before. There's an anime, it's like 12 episodes long, it's called Wandering Sun. It was the first time I saw a piece of media that, like, was from the perspective of a trans character. All that shit that had been, like, in my head and no one else had ever said, hearing it come out of a character and have a name, I was like, ah, fuck. And it was the thing that, like, that same day got me to come out as trans. I imagine if I watched it back today, I would have a lot more, like, critiques of it. And it's a big part of why I've never gone back to rewatch it, is I'm like, if I never rewatch it, it is that perfect thing that said everything I'd ever thought, and like was the nudge I needed to transition. If I rewatch it, it's going to be really hard to not analytical brain go, this was maybe kind of a crap piece of media that, like, nonetheless helped me get where I needed to go. One of these days. I can't imagine it's that heavily copyright focused. I kind of want to do like a reaction video to it at some point. Like, I haven't watched this since the one time I watched it, like, God, 13 years ago now. My first revisit, capture my live reactions to that as I rewatch it. I think that could be interesting.
Preparing.
No.
Okay. Let's go cash in those timer quests, and then go back to Josephine and see what we need to do next. Here's the ones with the exclamation mark.
How is Baron Edward? Cold, I imagine. Why? If the red lyrium continues to grow, the cold will be the least of his problems.
How close are we, Josephine, to doing your list of bits and bobs? Have we saved your family yet, Josephine?
Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
Working on
What's
it.
the next favor we need to get these deux paraquets a lord?
We must persuade Minister Belize to ratify the papers. She's in charge of these matters of rank. The minister will be at a small fete thrown by the Marquis Wiscott. Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor? We must persuade Minister Belize. The minister will be at a small fete thrown by the Marquis
Wiscott.
Any news on the House of Repose, Inquisitor?
Belize Wiscott. I thought I'd done Belize Wiscott. Okay, let's go look at the stuff in here. Find the mission. It's not this one. Oh, which fucking quest is it I need?
Any Venatori activity?
If my agents find anything, you will be the first to know.
I completed this. I have a time and place at the Marquise's party. Okay, is the party still somewhere on the board? Do I have to go find... Okay, is it this? Lord of Arrow was one of them, unaware of the real identity, game disguised. Okay, I'm just gonna fucking Google this. Inquisition. I'm trying to do Josephine's quest, and I'm lost on where I'm meant to be going. I'm doing the whole trade sequence. Oh, Mox2000 says, I just want to say this is my first time here, and I clicked on the stream at random directly into your trans rant, and it hit me to click follow immediately. I'm glad that I didn't turn you off with, I have opinions about trans rap. To Valroyo. That might be it. The game is not good about telling you, like, here's when you're still doing things on the board versus when you actually go to them. Let's have a look. Thank you, Kai Rose. It's one thing I think this game could do a much better job of, is helping you identify where things you're trying to do happen to be. Valroyo. Okay, well, yeah, we can just go to the party from the map. Yeah, it's not always great at telling when is this a find it on the table and when is it it's already active. Go find it on the map. Oh, Varric, your card art. Fuck, your card art, Varric. Oh, your card art. Fuck. I was not ready for mourning Varric. You will never be the same, huh? Just think what his card art's gonna be like in Vale Guard when fucking... Oh, what's his crossbow's name? I've forgotten the... Bianca. When Bianca's destroyed. The fucking mourning card art for post-Bianca.
Thank you for seeing me in private, Minister Belize.
I chastise you for taking me from the party, Inquisitor, but the Marquis throws such dull affairs. It's hardly worth it. I assume you wish to discuss your petition to elevate these Duparaquets to a minor lordship.
I do.
Tell me, why should I allow you to pollute the Orlesian nobility any further than it's already been muddled?
Well... it's been lovely to have you here, Cass. I hope you've had a good one. Tara says, player convenience in RPGs is sometimes a foreign concept. I think more than most RPGs. Look, I think Inquisition is a great game. I think it's a fantastic game. BioWare has always had some problems with player convenience being, like, causing weird barriers to entry for, like, getting on with their games. Inquisition really is a game that, like, could have gone big mainstream success more than it did if it was a little more player-friendly. Like, it's just a little standoffish in ways that really don't help it. Like, you know, we all joke about, no one makes it past the hinterlands, everyone gives up before they get out the hinterlands. You know, jokes like that are born from something. This is a game that is a fantastic game that half the time doesn't want you, like, feels like it doesn't want you to realize how great it is.
Surely even a minister could do worse than have the Inquisition in her debt.
I am a well-positioned woman. I require something more concrete than vague promises of future gifts. And do not attempt to charm me. I am far too old to tolerate it. What can you possibly provide that will make your petition worth my effort?
Here's the thing. The Inquisition is structured in such a way that the people who brute force through the janky edges on it feel really, like, proud of themselves for understanding the systems and for, like, working it all out. And that adds up with the great narrative, and they walk away going, best game ever made. But it's at the expense of approachability for a lot of other people. This game is not good at signaling, here is the expected flow of the game state, and, like, here is when it's okay to move on, here's how you should know when to do certain things, or in what menu to do certain things. The things that sort of, even if you don't force people to have, like, a linear path, the things that go, here is a guiding river that sort of brings you along the right sort of progression and, like, keeps you with some kind of guiding light. And this game lacks that in some really weird ways. It is built on the backs of a couple of games before that established conceits that this game just sort of takes for granted rather than doing the work to teach or remind in the moment, and it's a shame, because I find this so much harder to recommend than, say, Mass Effect. Like, for any problems people have with Mass Effect 3's ending, I think Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 is a much easier to recommend, easier to get into example of, like, what a good BioWare RPG is. Inquisition, I tend to recommend to people, like, either do you just not like sci-fi and you want, like, a classical fantasy one, then sure, start here. But if that's not the case, I'm like, start with Mass Effect, get invested in BioWare, and then start playing Inquisition, and when it has its off-putting moments, just keep telling yourself, I know that BioWare has the magic, I'm just gonna push through until I find it. Use the fact that you're already invested thanks to the ones that are easier sells and a bit more linear and streamlined to help you push yourself through into the great stuff in this. That's kind of where I feel. I mean, you could argue start with KOTOR, but I mean, I think if you want, like, modern BioWare, like the Mass Effect Dragon Age BioWare, just talking about, like, that modern duo, I think Mass Effect's an easier entry point. Terra says, I'm glad you're playing this game because I need to do all the quests before moving on. I know I'm not supposed to, but I need to complete every area before I do the main quests. Why do you think I have not replayed this game in so long? I had the exact same problem, and it absolutely killed my enjoyment of that game. In a game that is not super, like, BioWare level plot heavy, I don't mind, like, I quite enjoy methodically, obsessively doing everything. But the problem is that in a game like this, where the narrative is, like, trying to go, this is all really important and urgent, we need to keep moving, it really hurts the pacing of that to spend as long as this game wants you to spend doing every single quest. And the two are at odds, and I'm doing my best to do I leave some stuff behind and I just progress. I kind of, like, try and progress the plot on stream. But even then, I've had, like, multiple streams in a row at points where I've just been running around doing side quests, beating shit up, and not doing any plot. What can I offer you to make the petition worth your effort? An unforgettable night.
Perhaps the services of some of the best trained soldiers in Orlais?
Normally, I wouldn't be interested, but I would enjoy not having to beg Gaspard for Chevalier. For a man who loathes the game, he has an extraordinarily sharp memory for favors. Very well, Inquisitor. Should you fulfill this bargain, I shall raise the Duparakets into lordship.
Well, probably an unwise move on my part, but there we go. We may, you know. If I'm going to give you anything, some people to hit stuff is less likely to, I was going to say less likely to be politically divisive, but giving the tools of war to a group does somewhat make you complicit in harms that group may go on to cause in war. I say, not thinking about any modern conflicts going on right now where maybe a certain nation is providing a lot of war power to another.
Is there anything you need?
And maybe, as a result, is somewhat, complicit in what is done. Anyway, let's see how Josephine is doing.
Inquisitor.
Who was trying to say hello to me? Was it just a random NPC acknowledging me? I thought someone had a quest for me. You doing any better,
I
Varric?
appreciate the warning, but you shouldn't have come yourself. What if the guild found out, or...
Okay, Varric's doing better.
Are you worrying for me or for yourself?
A little of column A, a little of column B. I am the expendable one, after all.
Oh, don't worry, I'll protect you. We'll just have to... Well, this is a surprise. You're the Inquisitor, right? Bianca Davry, at your service.
Yeah. The Bianca's named after. Here we go. It's Bianca time. Yeah, because, like, here's the thing. We're in the part of Inquisition that I love right now, which is the point where, like, you go do, like, one little mission, and you come back and everyone's got new fucking dialogue again. Where, like, you get to this point where, like, I'm gonna say, like, 60 to 70% of the game is having fun little conversations with all your little collection of guys. And doing, like, how do I befriend my little guys quests. That's the point where I love Inquisition. It takes, like, 30, 35 hours to really get to the point where Inquisition's, like, have fun with your little BioWare guys. Like, I would say Mass Effect, again, look, as someone that thinks Mass Effect does a much better job of onboarding, Mass Effect gets you to, I can regularly talk to my little guys way better than Inquisition does. Time to call them out.
Your name is Bianca?
It's a common name. Half the girls in the Merchants Guild are named Bianca. The other half are named Helga. I lucked out.
No, the prompt said like the crossbow. You were supposed to say like the crossbow out loud and make it all awkward.
I take it you're a friend of Varric's.
Who isn't a friend of Varric's? You have met him before, right?
Is a friend of Varric like a euphemism? Are you a friend of Varric?
Any friend of Varric's is welcome here.
Be careful saying things like that. Some of his friends you don't want to meet. Ancestors, you're tall. If this Inquisitor gig doesn't work out, you could make a killing getting things off high shelves.
Bianca's got a lead on where Corypheus got his red lyrium.
The site of Bartran's Folly, the tag Varric found, has been leaked. There's a Deep Roads entrance crawling with strange humans carting out red lyrium by the handful.
How do we know they're not using multiple entrances to get to the Tig?
Navigating the Deep Roads isn't like the surface. There's no accurate maps of the whole system, and there are cave-ins, darkspawn, lava floods. If you find a route that gets where you're going, you don't deviate. Trying to find another way could be deadly.
We need to deal with this.
Hooray,
long as he
more
has this
side
source,
quests.
Corypheus is that much more powerful.
I couldn't agree more.
I'll keep an eye on their operation. If you're interested in shutting it down, you've got my help. Try not to leave me waiting too long, Varric. I've got my own work to do, you know.
Right. That's not going to be trouble at all. Let me know when you want to head to the entrance.
Hooray, Varric! Varric is talking again!
If you've got questions, I'm your dwarf.
Carry on.
Hooray! Varric no longer hates our guts. At least he'll talk to us again. Okay, Josephine, we sorted with you. God, this is gonna be another entire episode where it's just 3 hours of me running around Skyhold, isn't it?
I must return to Valrayo to see that everything is in order.
Okay, meet Josephine in Valrayo. Speak with the Countess in Valrayo. Okay. Okay, we go back to Valrayo. Valrayo. Oh, Varric. Oh, Varric, your card looks so emo now. Oh, I'm gonna have to remember soon to do my German. I've not done my German today. I forgot to do it before stream. I'm not yet in a routine of... Like, I remembered to do it before midnight, but I can't... I'm not yet remembering to do it before the stream starts. So I might have to learn a couple of minutes of German on stream again. If you all will forgive me my language-based transgressions. Sprechen Sie Deutsch? Du bist meine Frau. Meine Frau. Du bist meine Frau. You are my wife. I know how to say that. Kaffee. Kaffee und Milch. Milch, bitte. Dankeschön. I know very little. I'm trying to learn. I know that husband is just like man, like my man, my guy, and that amuses me. I know that wheelchair is Rollstuhl. It's like a stool that rolls. It's a rolling chair. That I can remember because it feels like an English compound word. Rollstuhl. It brings me joy. I am aware that lots of things in German are like, I forget what the suffix is, but it means like thing. So like an airplane is like flying thing. Yeah, German does a lot of this with like the place that something happens, Hafen. So like airport is Flughafen, flying place. I'm sorry, BT. Look, I only know how to tell someone they are my wife. I don't know how to be like, that is my wife. I've not learned that yet. I can be like, I am the wife. You are my wife. I know how to do that. I remember Du bist meine Frau, because since I learned it, every time I see my wife, I walk up to her and I'm like, Du bist meine Frau. It makes me very joyous that I can point at her and be like, Du bist meine Frau. I'm learning.
I received a letter from the House of Repose, Your
I'm getting there slowly.
They acknowledge their contract is null and void. There is no longer a price on my life.
I'm glad you don't have to live your life looking over your shoulder anymore.
I regret we were forced to deal with them. That you were endangered by my part in the game. Did I ever mention I used to be a bard?
You were a singer?
Bards entertain the Orlesian court. They sing, play music, make charming conversation, and spy. Many young nobles put on a mask and practice playing the game in such a fashion.
Thimba says, why are most people I know learning German right now? I'm out of the new trend or something? I don't know when my wife started learning German specifically. I'm learning German because my wife is learning German, and like if I'm gonna learn a language, it makes sense to be learning the same one as my wife so I can like practice having conversation with her. And that's the biggest thing about like learning languages for me, is remembering. Like, I'm not gonna remember shit unless I practice it with someone. But also, I'm finding it easier than a lot of other languages to learn, in large part because English has its roots in German. A bunch of old Germany came over to England and invaded at one point, and English and German share a lot of linguistic roots. So there's a whole bunch of things I hear in German and go, I can hear some English words, like some things that became English words in here in a way where I can sort of guess at the context, or that stick into my head because it's using the same components of language that I grew up learning. And like, it's why something like Rollstuhl sticks in my head. I know it's not directly translated to like rolling stool, but it's built of the same building blocks that my brain can go, I know what rolling stool, wheelchair. Like, German has a lot of examples like this that just click for my brain. But also, it'll be nice when, like, once or twice a year I go to Germany, like, for Gamescom and stuff. Like, a year from now, to go back to Gamescom and have, like, a little bit more conversational German would be great.
What made you interested in becoming a bard?
I've heard Dutch is even closer to English, but German I'm going to have opportunities to use. At least once a year I go to Germany for like a week, so I spend like nearly 2% of my year in Germany. Might be worth knowing German.
You seem a bit steady for such an outgoing lifestyle.
The life of an entertainer didn't suit me at all. During one particular intrigue, I encountered a bard sent to kill my patron. We fought. Or perhaps scrapped is the better word. Both of us terrified. We were at the top of a steep flight of stairs. The other bard drew a knife, and I pushed him away from me. You can imagine the result.
You were only defending yourself.
But it was such a waste, Inquisitor. When I took off his mask, I knew him. We'd attended parties together. If I'd stopped to reason, if I'd used my voice instead of scuffling like a common thug, I'll always wonder who that young man would have grown into.
Max, that's a lovely offer. If the next time I am in Berlin, you haven't fallen off of remembering who I am, that's a lovely offer. Beer, bitte. Beer oder Wein. Bitte, dankeschön. Beer or wine, please, thank you. Can you tell I've been doing this less than a week? This is the extent is I know the names of some food and drink, and I know how to say you are my wife, and then get very excited that I told my wife she is my wife.
He seemed willing enough to murder you for the game.
Perhaps. I feel I'm the last to judge whether or not he would have actually used the blade. In all the commotion, forgive me. I don't believe I ever thanked you for helping.
It was clear you appreciated the act. You didn't have to say the words thank you. It was very clear you appreciated it.
I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Such a gracious woman deserves nothing less.
Such talk.
More harmless lesbian flirting.
Should I stop?
Oh, no. I mean, yes. I meant no.
She's
I
so
don't...
flusterable.
Well, if you meant to draw a blush to my cheeks, you've
Look, even if I'm
completely succeeded.
ultimately going after Iron Bull,
Let's return to Skyhold before...
Josephine's fun to flirt with. She's so fun to flirt with. Right, so what's this other thing here? Do I still need to talk to Countess Dione? Or was that only if I was trying to do the other route? Ich kannst Deutsch sprechen, aber mein English is so good.
It's the Grand Ball in the Winter Palace.
My English isn't very good. Ich kannst I something German speak, aber my English isn't very good. I know like half the words in there. Kannst is not one I know. Sprachen I know is like Sprachen's. I think French is similar. Sprachen's English. No, yeah, Sprachen's English. Sprachen's Deutsch. Yeah, is speak. I speak this. Aber. despite the fact I've been doing this a week, I got like half the words in there. But again, a good chunk of that is because German's just a language I can look at and go, I can sort of puzzle out a chunk of these words.
Adamant and ruins. Inquisition. Lot of their own everywhere. What an unexpected pleasure.
I can't speak German. Oh yeah, I can't. I should have worked out was can't. I can't German speak, but my English. But I speak English well. Yes, I can't German speak, but my English is very good. Yeah, okay, I was pretty close. I got that it was. I could have guessed from context, like, my English is very good. I like can't. Like, a lot of words have, like, you look at them and go, yeah, that's kind of got the same, some of the same sounds as a word that would fit in that space. Nicht. You're missing a nicht somewhere in there. That's fair. Look, I'm not confident enough to say it, but I can muddle through some German words. What was the other German word I learned that was great? It was another medical word that was really interesting. Anyway.
Here's a letter from Ellerly. He's safe with his family in the Dales.
Oh, my Ellerly. Oh, bless you.
So, BT, you are correct. You did say you couldn't speak it. Or you did try to say you couldn't speak it. It reminds me a lot of, the French phrase I'm perhaps most comfortable saying is, Je ne comprends pas le français, tu parles l'anglais, s'il vous plaît? Which roughly translates as, I'm sorry, I don't speak French, do you speak English, please? Alright, back to Skyhold. Back to continuing to have narrative cutscene after narrative cutscene. You know what, this is as good a moment as any. While we're talking about learning German, forgive me, we're going to learn German together for like 3 minutes, so that I don't lose my streak and the bird in the app doesn't get upset at me for not having done German. So here we go. Let me do some German. Let's.
Hallo, ich bin Karl.
Hello, I am Karl. Hello, ich bin Karl.
Tee.
Tea.
Wein.
Wine.
Und.
And.
Ich.
I. Yeah.
Ja, ich bin Lukas.
Yes, I am Lucas. I am Lucas. Yeah.
Vater.
Father.
Ich.
I.
Und.
And.
Milch.
Milk. Yeah. Ein Vater. Eine Mutter.
Eine.
The E at the end is feminine, so it's ein Vater for father, eine Mutter for mother. A father and a mother. Ein Vater and eine Mutter. Oh, do I know how to spell Mutter? M-U-T-T-E-R? Yeah. Mutter. Eine Mutter. Eine Mutter oder ein Vater. I'm doing my I'm German. I'm gendering my German relations. Okay.
Ich bin Karl.
Ich bin Karl.
Ich.
I am Karl versus Milk is Karl.
Ich bin Nina.
Ich bin Nina. I am Nina. ICH? Yeah, ICH. Hello, I am Karl. Hello, ich bin Karl. ICH. Ich bin Karl.
Hallo, ich bin Anna.
Hello, I am Anna. Ich bin... Is it just B-I-N for spelling? Yeah, okay. A father, a mother. Ein Vater.
Eine.
Eine Mutter.
Vier.
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 V-I-E-R. Vier. A mother, a father.
Ein.
Oh no. Eine Mutter.
Mutter.
Ein Vater.
Vater.
Hey, Bella Bean.
Eine Mutter.
Sorry, we're learning German briefly. I'll get
Eine
back.
Mutter. Ein Vater.
I'll get back to this any moment. Eine Mutter, a mother, a father, ein Vater. There we go. I learned some German. Didn't learn anything new. No. Stop trying to advertise me, you upsell. There we go. I practiced some German. I didn't spell anything wrong today. I spelt my German correctly. That's progress. Yeah, it's Duolingo. For all the problems with it, it's free, and it is the one that has the things built in that are going to keep me doing it. Yes, this is going to be a feature of streams now, is occasionally if I've forgotten to do my German before I come on stream, there might be like 3 minutes of German during the stream where I go, oh yeah, I should have done my German today. Oh no, DualSense, you're running low. Oh, Bella Bean. Bella Bean says, I just got back from the movies. You inspired me to go alone, hearing you chat about going to the movies. Did you see anything fun? Also, yeah, it's fun sometimes to just go, I'm just going to go to the movies myself and have a good time that's for me. Doesn't have to be a whole thing where I get people together. I'm just going to go see a film. I hope you saw something interesting. Right, let's redo the cycle of talking to everyone. Ah, the new Alien film. I have very complicated thoughts on it, but I'm glad that as many people are loving it as they are.
That's enough
I can
now.
certainly find
Another
things to
time,
love in it, even if my thoughts are complex. I think it is a better take on Alien than a lot of things in recent years have been. It gets a lot more right than a lot of Alien films.
Your worship.
And I'm glad I saw it. I was definitely glad I saw it. Evelyn Boyd says, hi Laura, I also went to the cinema today. Saw Twisters. Twisters is fascinating.
Come on,
we'll
Trip.
get there in a second.
I'm working my ass off trying to get you to see that move.
You still got plenty of arse left, Chief. Your worship.
Oh,
Glad you
these
came by.
two.
I got a letter from my contacts in the Ben Hasrath. Already verified it with Red.
Okay, so, I saw Twisters. I had a good time at Twisters. But do you agree with me, Evelyn Void, that Twisters is 25% dramatic action film, 50% Hallmark movie, like specifically like Hallmark Christmas movie, 25% dramatic action film again? Like, it's 2 portions of dramatic action film with like tense PTSD dramatic action with like 50% in the middle that's just, what if this was just a Hallmark movie for a bit? And like, I don't dislike that. I think it's fascinating, but I am fascinated by that film's structure. Are you gonna see, or have you seen It Ends With Us? Is that the one? I think it is. Yeah, so I haven't seen it. I might see it. I'll say this. My understanding of It Ends With Us is I saw some interviews about it where, like, the cast were like, hey, we had so much fun on set. We're, like, weirdly upbeat about it, and then I found out that I'm pretty sure it's a film about domestic abuse. And that's really weird and jarring to me, that, like, the press tour has seemingly been, like, weirdly upbeat and, like, oh, what a fun love story we were involved in making. That is, like, maybe kind of a heavy film about domestic abuse. So I'm, like, not sure about that film. I will probably maybe see it at some point, but also, it was a weird first impression to have of it. Yeah, they wanted a Barbie press tour / hype thing, but not the film to do it with. Yeah, I didn't know anything about the film until I'd already seen, like, the girl power hype cycle for it, and then found out it was a very different film, and was like, okay, I'm fucking glad I knew that. Because sometimes I'll just go see a film I know nothing about because I have that option, because unlimited cinema pass. Thank you, my lovely wife. Du bist meine Frau. But I'm glad that this was not one where I went in expecting one thing and saw something totally different.
Do you want to discuss this alone?
Not like I was hiding it from my boys. Besides, right now, I need to hit something.
You know they've got training dummies, Chief.
The training dummy might actually defend itself against the shield bash. Anyway, the Ben Hasrath letter.
Yeah, I mean this in the most positive way. Like there's a good portion at the start of the film that is like dramatic. We're chasing tornadoes. Life or death. A dramatic tornado chasing. The trauma of tornado chasing. And then for a while it's like, what if it was a love triangle film that's like, it's not literally this, but it has the energy of like, who am I gonna end up with? The city boy with a heart of gold, or the man, the city person who like I thought I loved, but he's maybe not so good, or the country boy with the heart of gold, and then it becomes like dramatic tornado chase film again, and like that portion in the middle is like interestingly written. It's just, it feels like a film where they're like, look, we gotta start and finish on some action so that like the husband of a heterosexual couple like comes in going, yeah, action, and leaves going, I remember seeing action at the end. But the wife could go like, that was such a lovely love story in the middle. And like the most heterosexual stereotype couple you could imagine would both come away from this film feeling like they got one over on the other partner by like tricking them into seeing a film of their genre tastes. It feels like a film purpose designed so that both halves of the most heterosexual couple on the planet could feel like, I fooled you into seeing one of my films. And like, there's something weirdly endearing about that. Like, I don't mean to make this sound like it's not good. It's fascinating. I had a lovely time with it. It's just, watching it made me think of when I went to see the Taylor Swift concert aired in cinemas out of curiosity about Taylor Swift's discography. And, like, during it, there was a husband and wife, where the wife sat and watched every moment enraptured, and the husband, every 3 to 6 minutes, got up to get himself another beer from the bar. And I thought about that interaction watching Twisters and going, this film was designed to make that husband not get up and go get a beer, leaving his wife behind watching the thing that he felt dragged to. Anyway,
What did the letter say?
The Ben Hasrath have been reading my reports. They don't like Corypheus or his Venatori. And they really don't like Red Lyrium. They're ready to work with us. With you, boss. The Qunari and the Inquisition, joining forces.
That could be a powerful alliance.
My people have never made a full-blown alliance with a foreign power before. This would be a big step.
It would be.
They found a massive Red Lyrium shipping operation out on the coast.
Also, it probably helps that my Inquisitor is Qunari.
Dreadnoughts. Always wanted to see one of those big war ships in action.
Did you see that? Go get some water. They're worried about tipping the smugglers, so no army. My chargers, you, maybe some backup.
Finally today is the, after countless streams of going and talking to Bull every time we're in Skyhold and Bull having nothing to say, finally Bull's got everything for us.
What does this alliance really get us?
They wouldn't use the word alliance if they didn't mean it.
Yeah.
Naval power. More Ben Hasrath reports. Qunari soldiers pointed at the Venatori. It could do a lot of good.
You don't seem entirely happy about this.
No.
We're trying to romance Bull, yeah.
I'm used to them being over there.
He's a big dumb idiot and I kind of love him, despite his... He's got a little bit of sexism. He's got a little bit of not treating my Qunari Inquisitor as properly Qunari. Like he's got some prejudices I'm not the biggest fan of. But like, find me a companion in this game who doesn't have at least one weird little deal-breaking thing that in the real world would put me off romancing them. I really just want to soak in as much Canary content in this playthrough as I can, and that means being a Canary and dating a Canary and having more Canary conversations.
I thought Kunari wanted to extend their reach to the whole world.
Yeah.
Oh, just thank you for
think
spreading
I'd
some
see
love. I hope you're having a good day
Look,
today.
The Qun answers a lot of questions. It's a good life for a lot of people. But it's a big change, and a lot of folks here wouldn't do so well under that kind of life. I guess it's not like we're converting. This is just us joining forces against Corypheus. On that front,
Well done! Well done, Bull, though, for showing some growth and recognizing the Qun, not a lifestyle that is beneficial to everyone in our community, and that trying to force everyone to follow it would not be in the best interests of the people of this community you've joined. That's progress.
I think the Inquisition could use some help from the Kunari.
good. I'll pass on word to Cullen and Red. We can set up the meeting whenever you're ready.
Is there anything you need?
Okay, you're good.
That's enough for now.
I
Another
gotta
time.
run around and get everyone's...
It's good to see you.
And pick up everyone's side quests. If I can do that today, if I can finish picking up everyone's side quests so that we can start doing everyone's side quests next time we do an episode, which will be Monday next week, that'll feel like good progress.
Nuts or seeds or whatever, they're good.
Oh, Josephine's perfect. Josephine can do no
See you
wrong.
later.
Josephine's perfect. Never done anything wrong. Not a party member you can like take out into the field with you, but like Josephine is faultless, flawless. Okay, she's a noble. She's a little okay. Her whole plotline is us trying to help her get back to being a fancy rich billionaire lady. So yeah.
Or are you just here to admire the dwarf?
I'll give you that. I'll give you that as a drawback. Solus. Oh, of course Solus has done nothing wrong. Solus is perfect. Solus isn't about to cause all the events. Also, I forgot to acknowledge, there sure is a lot of wolves painted on the walls of this room that you're hanging out in, Solus. Isn't that something? Let's look at some of this art on the walls. I always forget to just stop and have a look at the art on these walls, Solus. Don't think about it. Let's not ask why he has wolves on the walls, and if that's anything to do with the fact that the next game in the series was originally going to be called Red Wolf.
My friend.
Okay, you're good. Let's finish doing the run around, see if anyone else has got... some other people are bound to have conversation triggers. Yeah.
You
Dorian.
have remarkably little here on early to Vinter history. All these gifts to the Inquisition, and the best they can do is the Malefica Imperio. Trite propaganda.
Twirly mustache wizard.
But if you want 20 volumes on whether Divine Galatea took a shit on Sunday, this is evidently the place to find it.
That's the Dorian I know. Critiquing every book in my library.
I wouldn't have to, if you could find some rebellious heretic archivist to join the cause.
Are there rebellious archivists? Other than you, that is.
If Corypheus ever starts burning masterworks of literature, I'm sure a few will pop up. Did I see something by Genitivi here? I could have sworn.
What is this about, Dorian?
When everyone returned, they told us about your tumble into the Abyssal Rift.
Oh,
You went into the Fade. Physically went in.
I did, yeah.
All right.
Kveldrum says, Solus is nowhere near as good at hiding himself as he thinks he is. His success in hiding this is nothing to do with his own skill and everything to do with the fact that no one else knows enough to recognize what's happening. I love playing through this knowing where it's going, being like, yes, Solus, I will help you activate all of these devices that are definitely strengthening the Veil and the Fade. Definitely making sure it is stronger in these points. I love you, Solus, for helping me with that. um.
Hawk is gone.
The Fade is an ordeal under normal circumstances. To be the only real thing there, beyond description. That you made it out at all is a miracle.
The BT, yeah, I made the choice for Hawk to be
this
lost.
feat hasn't been performed in over 1,000 years. Corypheus and his contemporaries entered the Fade and began the Blights. In comparison,
I want to find the dialogue. Like, look, I felt it was more narratively interesting for Hawk to stay behind. It was more important narratively for the Wardens to have someone to lead them. But there is specifically a quote from Dragon Age 2 that I really like in reference to, let me find. There's a Dragon Age 2 quote that feels like it's almost perfectly designed for encouraging you to leave Hawk behind in that one mission. Let me find it. So, that mission where we go to the Fade is called Here Lies the Abyss. And I'm going to read to you a quote that Flemeth says to Hawk in Dragon Age 2. And remember, the mission we're doing is called Here Lies the Abyss. We're fighting a nightmare in the Abyss. We stand on the precipice of change. The world fears the inevitable plummet into the Abyss. Watch for that moment, and when it comes, do not hesitate to leap. It is only when you fall that you learn whether you can fly. It is a quote about fear and the Abyss, relating to a mission in which you are fighting a fear demon in the Abyss. And I love that. Like, if I would... to borrow a phrase from Austin, who runs Dice Funk, who's our DM in that campaign, if I were directing the HBO Max adaptation of that scene, I would have a flashback to that line of dialogue before, like, a flashback happens, and then Hawk decides to stay and to fight so that we can get out. Like, it would make really beautiful narrative symmetry. As much as it hurts me to do, I think it is the interesting choice. And I think it's really I think getting to see Varric torn up over it, I think is, like, interesting content to have in a playthrough.
So I should be happy I accomplished something so grand?
Varric's grief is incredibly well written and performed, and I think it is a shame not to see it.
Who knows what secrets Corypheus has revealed? Not all of them will be as lucky as you. What they could unleash. My advice? Keep this quiet. Let them speculate. Too many will see this as a challenge.
That's a good idea.
There are enough idiots in the world who think if they just use enough blood magic, their problems will vanish. It's exactly the sort of thing I want to stop back home. What I do need is a copy of the Liberalum. I'll wager I can find Corypheus's real name. If I can prove he was a grasping ankle-biter with no family to speak of, the luster would come right off. Wish me luck. Something you need?
I should go.
Okay, you're up to speed.
I'm told you gave the Grey Wardens another chance, Inquisitor. Would I have done the same, I wonder? Forgiveness can be difficult. I hope the Order values what you've done and gives you no reason to regret it.
I'll leave you to it.
Let's go around and talk to everyone.
Here is the request, Harriet.
Who else do we need to talk to? Got to be some other people. I have to loop all the way around the room to get to you. Oh, I could have just walked around. Hey, we've not chatted in a bit. How you doing?
Inquisitor. I have been
Oh, you're gonna want to talk about religion, aren't you?
You remember everything now, yes? The explosion at Haven, the Fade, escaping the breach.
Yeah, there's gonna be
In
a
the report. You said Justinia was with you, but only you emerged in the end. Why? Why were you the only survivor?
she knew it was either her or me. And she wanted me to live.
Of course. Of course she did. That's just like her. Her message to me. I failed you too. I'm not sure I understand what that means. Did she say anything else? Anything at all? Please, if you remember.
I'm sorry, Liliana. That was it.
There are no answers in the fate. Only illusions. A warped mirror. Justinia has never failed me. I was her left hand. Now she's dead. I failed her.
I did not do a good job of reassuring you.
I didn't get the chance to say so earlier. But welcome back to
Oopsie.
Skyhold. After that terrible journey through the Fade, it must feel good to stand on solid ground again, no?
I'm thankful to be back. No one should enter the Fade physically.
And you've done it twice now. Shall I count you fortunate or unfortunate?
I'll leave you.
Did you need something?
Okay.
I'll leave you to your work.
Okay, we're good with you. Kveldstrom, I don't disagree with you about the heroic sacrifice narrative, but also, like, look, I can be critical of a narrative trope on paper, while still emotionally being a sucker for it. Like, I can recognize a kind of bad trope for what it is, while still going, look, my brain recognizes it. My heart wants what it wants, and sometimes it wants a dramatic, heroic sacrifice narrative.
We'll talk later.
Goodbye.
It's one of those things. I'm trying to think of a good example to put this. I'll put it this way. I talked about this earlier in the stream. I went and saw the concert version of Taylor Swift's, the cinema version of Taylor Swift's concert that happened earlier this year. And there were songs that I learned about in that concert performance where I was like, that's a real damn catchy song. I can analytical brain go, you know, that song is like a little bit fucking entry level baby's first feminism. It really simplifies some things, and it's like, it's, you know, it's not any kind of actual critique, like feminist critique that's gonna, like, you know, move the needle at all. But then my heart can go, yeah, but it's catchy, and when I sing it, I feel like girl boss, gaslight gatekeep girl boss, and I feel powerful. And I can simultaneously, like, have my critical brain about it, but also go, if I was in a concert stadium full of people singing, I'd be like, fucking yeah, and sing along and feel, you know, sisterhood, it's happening. Yeah, both of those can be true.
Inquisitor, if you're looking for the commander, he's gone to speak with Seeker Pentecost. Inquisitor, if you're looking for the commander, he's gone to speak with Seeker Pentecost.
Where on earth would I find Seeker Pendergast? Alright. Is this where I'm going? I'm so bad at knowing my way around this area. I need to go back up here to get to the right height elevation. Then walk this way.
We don't need those chargers. We've soldiers enough without cell swords.
Upstairs in here? I just want to be able to select a character on that menu and just be where that character is. Just warp to that character.
Welcome back.
Oh, I have not talked to you in a fucking while, have I?
No. But you like demons.
Oh, I've
the
left
company
you
of
unchatted to for
yes,
so long.
Which is part of why I do not abuse them with bindings. It isn't abuse if I ask. Not always true. Also, I do not practice blood magic, which renders this entire conversation academic.
Time for us to chat with
He
Cole
won't
like
bind
15
me.
times.
He's a mage and he likes demons, but he won't help.
Why would you want Solus to bind
I
you?
forgot how interesting Cole is.
So I'm safe. If Solus won't do the ritual to bind me, someone else could. Will. Like the Warden mages. And then... I'm not me anymore. Walls around what I want. Blocking, bleeding, making me a monster.
If I can be magically captured like a Pokemon, I'd rather select who my Pokemon trainer is. I'd rather be caught and magically bound by someone who I can trust than risk someone else doing it. I'm gonna be honest, Ebers, I forgot Cole existed as well, but now that I'm here, I'm like, oh, Cole's actually really cool and interesting, yeah.
A mage using blood magic could conceivably do that to any one of us, human or demon.
You should ask Solus to bind you too. And then someone can bind him.
We'll find a way to keep you safe without binding you, Cole.
I have a suggestion, if Cole is ready to listen. I recall stories of amulets used by Raveni seers to protect spirits they summoned from rival mages. A spirit, wearing an amulet of the Unbound, was immune to blood magic and binding. It should protect Cole as well. The resources of the Inquisition could be used to find such a talisman. Good. They will not take me.
Oh, we've got so many side character quests to go do. So many, so many. You still at the top, Cole? I'll see if we got anything else to chat about. Do you have...
And pay better.
Ah.
Is that what they want the faithful to see?
Hey, Cole, you got anything else to chat about?
Roderick was sorry before he died.
I wasn't aware you and Roderick were acquainted.
He was hurt. Red inside from the Templar, but red outside from the Templar too. Needed help to walk. Limping, light, leaning on the young like old Pepe when the road was icy. He called me a fine young man. He said he was sorry for what he did to you.
Roderick was a pebble in the Inquisition's boot. A little remorse seems only fair.
Blood everywhere. Monsters, mad. The herald stands against it, and heads turn. Voices in the chantry. Years since I'd sung the song and felt it flowing through me, but this is real. So long since I'd felt it. Falling, flying, faith, and I fought her. Make her forgive me. I hope I did enough. It started out helping, taking the fear away. I won't take too much. I am not that.
Can you explain how your mind works?
That's a big question, Inquisitor.
Walk me through the way you help someone.
I start by listening. I hear hurt, feel it fretting. Some you can solve by giving something, food, a blanket, sleep. Some are intangible, terrible tangles that catch on a crack, fixed, festering, and the person makes a pearl of pain. I shake it loose. No pearl, no pain. They can hope, they can heal.
Sometimes you say things that relate to other members of the Inquisition.
They remember me. Their eyes stick, some more. They want me to be. Varric is quiet inside. He pulls me more to hear, makes me a person, calls me kid, a friend. Solus, bright and sad, observes and accepts. Spirit self, seeing the soul, Solus, but somehow sorrows.
What do you sense when you focus on me?
You're too bright. Like counting birds against the sun. The mark makes you more, but past it... Old blood, deeper, passion pounding, pulsing, unchecked. Raw rage, but only an option. And past that, the weight of all on you. All the hopes you carry, fears you fight. You are theirs. It must be very hard. I hope I help.
It must be sad, feeling everyone's pain all the time.
Why? No. I help. I find wounds and heal them.
Cole is such an interesting character.
I see
I
pain
wish
and make it better.
he felt like a bigger part
How
of the
can I
game.
not be happy?
In that every
I'll talk to you
time
later.
I talk to him, I'm endlessly fascinated by
It
his
wasn't from the
characterization.
flower. He wrote it in the snow.
I'd like to talk about what happened to you before we met.
Before you, Reese was my friend. He showed me I was wrong to kill the mages. I thought I was helping them. Then he and Evangeline went to Adamant, and I went with them. I was worried Evangeline would hurt Reese. We found out dangerous things. It scared Seeker Lambert, and he scared the mages. Seeker Lambert told me what I was. Reese couldn't look at me. I ran until I found more Templars. That's all.
What was the Spire like when the Mage Rebellion started?
Dead and dying, begging and bloody. Some wanted freedom, some peace, some war. Some wanted it all to stop. Evangeline was a Templar. But she helped Reese help the others. She set them free. Adrian was a mage. But she killed mages to force the fight. She wanted blood. Reese just wanted to help. To stop people hurting. Maybe that's why he saw me.
What can you tell me about Reese?
He was a mage. He helped me, and I watched over him. She was a Templar, but she didn't like hurting people. When I left, she stayed. Now she watches over him. They should have been with the rebels. Maybe they ran away together instead. Neither of them like killing.
If you like, I could use the resources of the Inquisition to locate your friend.
No. If they are alive and safe, they should stay away. The last time he saw me, he didn't want to look at me. He saw a monster. Let him forget.
What did you mean when you say you killed mages?
Some of the mages at the Spire wanted to die. I didn't know what I was. A ghost, I thought. I used the knife to set them free. When Reese found out, he made me stop. Made me understand. There were other ways to help. I didn't know.
You wanted to free them from pain and fear. You shouldn't be ashamed of that.
I am. I didn't know. It was wrong. I was wrong. If I start again, you or Cassandra or Cullen need to kill me.
What can you tell me about Adamant Fortress?
It is old, full of sadness and pain. Thank you for not making me go.
You said Seeker Lambert told you what you...
I'm hiding Reese from him, but he chants words and sees. I won't let you hurt Reese. My nose explodes, a shower of blood. Just another parasite that's wormed its way into our world. What we found at Adamant made him angry. We were the first rock rolling at the top of a mountain. He killed so many. He didn't care. Cold, corrupt. So I came and killed him.
If you hated Seeker Lambert, why go to the Seeker Fortress?
Because he was right. I was a demon. I saw demons at Adamant. They put people in the dark, in the old hurts. I didn't want to be that. I heard the old songs of the Templars at Val Royeaux and followed them. If I forgot, fought, fell to felling, Templars would kill the demon. I wouldn't hurt anyone again.
I'll talk to you later.
How do you know? She
Oh,
hurts,
Cole,
but how
you
can
continue to be
hurt more?
fascinating.
She sees the strings that pull.
I'd like to talk.
They're heavy with forgotten songs, like Varric. Some of them are too loud. It's hard to stay near them. Cullen is softer, but demons asked questions that hurt him. I want to explain, but Reese's mother spoke to spirits, but not to him. Then she died for a Templar he loved. Words just bounce off the edges.
What's your general opinion of Templars?
Some like hurting mages. It makes them happy, or less afraid, or... But not all Templars listen when whispers crawl around inside them. They try to protect people, like Cullen.
The old songs, he says this more than once, I think, about dwarves as well. If not him, then Kieran does. Yes, when he talks about the old songs, I do wonder if this is in some way related to that one clip of Harding that is in one of the trailers that's currently out that sort of implies some stuff about maybe some things from the past are going to bubble back up. I do wonder how much the old songs are tied into that.
Can you tell me more about how the Templars
I vaguely
feel to
say.
you?
They feel older than they look. They've been changed, and their bodies are incomplete now. The lyrium helps, but their bodies always want to connect to something older, bigger than they are. That's why they block magic. They reach for that other thing, and magic has no room to come in. Like when
Yes,
I listen to
without getting specific, there is a trailer for Veilguard that's out there in which there is a short clip of something interesting happening to Harding that may tie into, like, when I say I hear the old songs, I think like something genetically historical bubbling up in a people, like the old songs, the things of long past about us. And there's something that happens with Harding in one of those trailers, in like a quick little snippet where I'm like, oh, that's interesting.
Can you tell me more about how the Red Templars are different?
The red lyrium is different, darker, daggers under the skin. It eats you inside until you're nothing. They hear a different song. The song behind the door old whispers want opened. They are dead and dark and done.
I mean, I can see if I can find an image of the thing I'm talking about. Is there a good image of it? Yeah, Kveldstrom, if you're curious, I can share an image. I have found an image. Is it one I can just save and put on screen? No. Yes, I'll screenshot it so I've got it available either way. I'm gonna want an image of this on hand. Okay, I can't. The thing is I can't remember which trailer it is, so I unfortunately I can't point you to the one that this shows up in. But this is the moment in one of those trailers that sure seems like maybe Harding turning some monsters into stone. And I look at this and I think of, you know, Cole talking about the old songs, and that shot from one trailer is the thing that I think about. Something deep in the bloodline of a people bubbling back up to the surface. We start singing the old songs again.
Probably.
Like, that is maybe a bit of a
He was the boy who was supposed to die.
a little bit of a leap,
He named
perhaps, but
himself after the horse.
tonally,
I'd like to talk with you
tonally
about
it
the
feels
Inquisition.
spiritually
I
the
don't
same.
understand it. People talk like it's a person, but it's not even a thing. A dagger can be a way to let pain out, but even if it isn't, it's still a dagger. The Inquisition isn't real unless it has something real to make it. It's like a spirit.
Yes, Sancho, yes.
I've heard about some oddities here in the keep. Was that you?
Yes. Maybe. What was it?
Can I assume you're responsible for the turnips that have shown up in the fireplaces?
They don't smell the same, raw.
You needed that soldier to smell them, so he could die thinking he'd gone home.
He did go home.
Someone is leaving peeled plums on the windowsill. It's attracting flies.
Spiders need to eat.
And healers need something to treat infected wounds, like spider webs.
The plums are already dead. They don't mind helping.
See, this is the bit where I start, like, really kind of feeling endeared to Cole. It's the... I love the idea of a character who does a thing, like... Cole reads like quite a positively written, like, autistic character, in as much as Cole is a character who is doing things that, to a neurotypical outsider, or, you know, someone who's not thinking his thought process, look like, why on earth would you do that? I don't understand the logic behind it. But the second he explains it, it's like, oh no, it's very clear you had a thought process, even if it's not one that we would have had. And that, like, there is a very sweet, sincere intent to help the world behind a action that at a glance might seem like, oh, no, why would anyone do that? And I like that about Cole.
Someone found a barrel full of misplaced daggers. Was that you?
They were safer there.
Safer than on someone's belt, where they could draw them in the heat of an argument?
They would have been sad later.
Yeah. Terra, I have thoughts about Veilguard. Like, pure speculation on my part. I see Harding maybe doing some stone magic. There's a couple of other things like that in a couple of trailers where I've looked at and gone, are we gonna see some examples of things from long in the past bubbling up in some of our companions? The long rumored coming to be the today of some of these characters, and I think a world in which old gods are breaking back into reality would make sense for, like, reawakening the old powers in people.
Someone stole an entire cheese wheel.
Mice like cheese.
Do mice also like bowls of crushed mint?
That was for the cats.
So the cheese lures the mice, and the mice lure the cats, and then they smell the mint?
Mint makes the cats dance and play.
This is a true fact. You know, how catnip works for cats? A lot of cats will have this. A lot of cats that react, like, have positive reactions to catnip will have the exact same reactions to mint plants. People who grow wild mint will sometimes find, like, cats just fucking loving their garden.
Let's talk about some...
All right.
Yeah, Kveldstrom says, Cole's very easy to read as autistic and it's a mostly kind interpretation. It makes me feel a lot dirtier about Varric's he could have been a person comment, though. Oh, agreed. Much the same way that, like, for all that I love about Alien Romulus that recently came out, that film gives me some weird, like, oh, you autistic coded this character and then did some kind of iffy stuff with that. But, like, for the most part, I think Cole comes across as a quite sympathetic autistic character where, like, hey, if you stop and just ask him why he did the things he did, he will tell you, and it'll be, like, understandable and kind of sweet.
Quiet behind the noise. The little bottle makes...
I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Can we find Cullen before we finish up the stream? Because where you at, Cullen? Oh, it's here. I was looking for Cullen's, like, the little head icon for Cullen, but yeah. Discussing something with Cassandra. Cool, so... Inconsistency of iconography.
You asked for my opinion, and I've given it. Why would you expect it to change?
I expect you to keep your word. It's relentless. I can't...
You give yourself too little credit.
If I'm unable to fulfill what vows I kept, then nothing good has come of this. Would you rather save face than admit...
Hi.
We will speak of this later.
With regards to your cat being straight edge,
I'm stubborn.
it's very much like
ridiculous.
Cullen
told
coriander.
You that he's no longer taking lyrium.
Yeah, does coriander slash cilantro, does it taste like soap? It's one of those on-off switch genetic things. It's like, that's catnip for cats.
It seemed very important to him.
It's not a decision to be made lightly. But now, Cullen has asked that I recommend a replacement for him. I refused. It's not necessary. Besides, it would destroy him. He's come so far.
Why didn't he come to me?
We had an agreement long before you joined us. As a Seeker, I could evaluate the dangers.
Is there anything we can do to change his mind?
If anyone could, it's you. Mages have made their suffering known, but Templars never have. They are bound to the Order, mind and soul, with someone always holding their lyrium leash. Cullen has a chance to break that leash, to prove to himself, and anyone who would follow suit, that it's possible. He can do this. I knew that when we met in Kirkwall. Talk to him. Decide if now is the time.
It's a tricky one. Wow. Let's go talk to Cullen and wing it. Work out what we're gonna do when we get there.
Right.
And this will probably be the last thing we do tonight, and then Monday we'll come back, and we've got all those side quests for party members to go do. So much party member side content. We've reached the bit where the game gets good. Ah, let's do it, let's do it. Let's make lasting consequences and choices. Oh.
Maker's breath. I didn't hear you enter. Forgive me.
Cullen, if you need to talk...
You don't have to...
So you're going through withdrawal.
I never meant for this to interfere.
Like, you're going through withdrawal, it's gonna interfere, and that's not a problem. You don't have to apologize for it, like... It was an expected part of you making this choice, and, like, we're here to support you. You are far more likely to relapse if you don't have anyone to support you going through withdrawal.
Are you going to be all right?
Yes. I don't know. You asked what happened to Ferelden's Circle. It was taken over by abominations. The Templars, my friends, were slaughtered. I was tortured. They tried to break my mind, and I... How can you be the same person after that? Still, I wanted to serve. They sent me to Kirkwall. I trusted my Knight Commander, and for what? Her fear of mages ended in madness. Kirkwall's Circle fell. Innocent people died in the streets. Can't you see why I want nothing to do with that life?
No, I can see it.
Of course I can.
Don't. You should be questioning what I've done. I thought this would be better. That I would regain some control over my life, but these thoughts won't leave me. How many lives depend on our success? I swore myself to this cause. I will not give less to the Inquisition than I did to Chantry. I should be taking it.
That is the withdrawal talking, kiddo. Hey, you gotta go through the rough to come out the other side of this thing, and going through withdrawal, you will convince yourself of 1,000,001 reasons to give up, because it is easier than what you're going through.
You give enough, Cullen. I'm not asking you for more. The Inquisition can be your chance to start over, if you want it to be.
I don't know if that's possible.
It is.
All right.
You can come out the other side of this. You just gotta... Withdrawal is real rough for... I'm going to start thinking about every mistake I've ever made and, like, real dwell on it. Because that is your body going, yeah, but I could shut all this up if I just had some more of the thing that I'm addicted to. It's like, no. You have to learn to sit with those feelings rather than drown them out with the addiction. Because otherwise the cycle will never end.
I need a moment. Could we speak in...
Yeah. Okay. I think that will do for today. We've done 2.5 hours of running around Skyhold, largely just talking to people in Skyhold. We did briefly go to Valeroyo to sort out Josephine's thing, but for the most part, it's just been 2.5 hours of Skyhold. But that does set us up well for next week, running around doing all of these little side character quests that we've sort of queued up. Actually, let's double check. There might be one more thing to do.
What's been going on?
Ambassador Montelier sent me a basket of flowers to thank me for my work with the Inquisition. She's so lovely.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. I'm gonna go save sort of near the war table so I remember to do that thing. But thank you so much everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed another stream of Dragon Age Inquisition. We will be back with more next week, with more Dragon Age Inquisition, and then more Dragon Age Inquisition, until we eventually get through Dragon Age Inquisition and then play what... It entirely depends on where in the year we are when that happens as to what we'll be playing afterwards. But thank you very much everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. I'll be back on Monday and Wednesday and Friday of next week. I will chat to you all soon. Bye.